Thank you so much, Treasurer. It was, and I say Treasurer because until about 8 months ago I was the Treasurer of Australia. And as Treasurer of Australia I chaired the G20, which is the premier global economic forum for world leaders and for finance ministers and central bank governors. So I don't know whether to congratulate Josh or commiserate with the job that he has to try and steer the finances of the state. To you, Senator, to Mayor, what a great honour it is for me as a new ambassador to be able to address you, the Ohio Delegation, to the Republican Convention. Ohio exports $900 million a year of goods to Australia. Car parts, pharmaceuticals, aeronautical services. And what do we send in return? 2 basketballers for the Cavaliers. You probably think that's a fair trade. I'm glad this is not being broadcast back to Australia at this moment. The relationship between Australia and the United States is very deep and it's enduring. Our continents are basically the same size. Continental United States and Australia are the same size. Except you have a population of 350 million. We have a population of around 25 million. So we have a lot of empty spaces. But we have shared values that go back a very long way. And I just want to take the opportunity to remind you of just how great America is and how enduring the relationship is between Australia and the United States. On the 8th of January 1918, Woodrow Wilson went to your Congress and he laid down a 14-point plan, the basis upon which the United States would engage with the world. You had had a horrendous civil war, fighting for values and for your nation. For a long time you were in a period of isolationism, stepping back from the world. And when Woodrow Wilson said, we will engage with the world but on these terms, that 14-point plan became the basis of what made America great. Article 2 was freedom of navigation in the seas. And that is important today, particularly in the South China Sea, as it ever has been. Freedom of navigation. And Article 3 was equality of trade. Freedom to trade around the world without taxes, without regulation, the opportunity to compete. And when he laid down that 14-point plan, including freedom of navigation and freedom of trade, he said, this will make America great. This is the basis upon which we are prepared to lead the world in peace. Those values endure today as they did then. Just a few months after he gave that speech, Australia had by that time suffered massive casualties on the Western Front in World War I. We were a long, long way from Europe. Long way. But at that stage we had almost the highest casualty rate per capita in the world, fighting in another country for the values that we believe to be true. And our lead general, General John Monash, Jewish general, was asked by the leader of the British at 4th Command in May of 1918 to take the town of Hamel from the Germans. He said, I haven't got enough soldiers left. And the commander of the British Army said, I'll send you some of these new American troops, but they need to train. The American troops trained side by side with the Australians, 10 companies. And they formed what we call mateship, a bond of shared values, shared beliefs. And as the approach came to taking Hamel, US General Pershing said, "I'm sorry, we don't fight under other generals." The American troops had formed that mateship and said, "We'll even change our uniforms to stand by these guys, we kind of like them." So General Pershing gave in and gave us 3 companies. Out of deference to the Americans, our General Monash said we will not attack until the 4th of July, 1918. In 93 minutes he took the town of Hamel and turned the First World War. Australia is the only country on earth to have fought with the United States in every single major battle since the 4th of July, 1918. And on the day that those planes went into the World Trade Center, as an example of that, for the first time the military treaty between Australia and the United States was invoked by our Prime Minister immediately. And we were the first country on earth to say to the United States, wherever the battle needs to be fought, we will be by your side. And as of today, we have troops in Iraq, we have troops in Afghanistan, we have planes over Syria. And we don't do so because you're the big brother. We do so because we share your values. The values that Wilson talked about freedom, about enterprise, about family. You know, when I was hearing the invocation a little bit earlier, I reflected on the fact that St. Peter was a reluctant apostle. Sometimes he just didn't want to be the leader. Every country on earth that is thought to be the greatest on earth has done so by invading other countries. The United States is unique. You're not invading other countries. Other countries want to come with you. And yes, it is a burden of leadership. And yes, it can be hard. And yes, you have ferocious internal political battles. But your values are desired by the whole world. And even though there are countries that have leadership where the people don't seem to desire your values, be it North Korea or Russia, parts of China, I want to assure you, the rest of the world wants to share your values of freedom and democracy and enterprise and family. That's why there's a gravitational pull to the United States. That's why people want to immigrate here. That's why refugees want to come here. That's why people want to engage with you. I live in the fastest growing region in the world. We have seen nearly 500 million people go into the middle class in Asia over the last 20 years. We've seen massive growth. So by the middle of this century, China, India and Indonesia will be in the top 5 or 6 economies in the world. America will still be there. America will still be strong. But I want you to believe in yourselves as much as I and the rest of the world believe in you as well. My American friends say to me, "Oh God, what's happening in this election? You know, we've never seen anything like it." I actually have great faith in your democracy. You know what? There's no other country on earth where a candidate to be the leader has every little school hall where people go and stand in the corners and work out who's going to be their candidate. And then it goes from the school hall to the county, and the county to the city or the state, and then it goes to a larger forum. That is democracy at work. No other country on earth has that, just for choosing the candidate. And the scrutiny of all the media and the world applying to individuals. Perhaps it's beyond the capacity of one person to take on such a role. But your democracy is vibrant, it's strong, but you know what? It's a model. And it's a model because it does, at the end of the day, work. So I have faith in you, great faith in you. And we'll have disagreements with the United States from time to time. But the one thing that I want you to know The one thing I want to say to you as an outsider looking in, America was great. America is great. You're the greatest economy on earth, the greatest democracy on earth. You've got the greatest military on earth. As of today, America is still great. You can be better, sure you can. No doubt about that. And your aspiration to be better says everything about how strong your country is. But for so long as you stand by your values, for so long as you don't create doubt about your values, you will be a great nation. Others will gravitate to you. If you start to doubt whether freedom is right, or democracy is right, or enterprise is right, or free trade is right, or if you start to doubt that immigration is right, all of a sudden you'll see the gravitational pull of the world turn elsewhere. We don't want that. We don't want that. Because your values and our values are not just shared in joint words, they're shared in joint blood. There are 150,000 dead American soldiers buried in the sand between Australia and Japan. For us, that is an intergenerational debt. But it also symbolises the fact that when it comes to mateship, the bond endures, the values endure, they go beyond the generations, and for so long as we all have breath in our lungs, we will be a great mate of the United States of America. Thank you very much.